Hello everyone, welcome to your session. So as you all know that in these sessions we have started with your aptitude portion, and by far we have taken some topics in this particular course. And now in today's class, sir, we will be discussing two more topics, right? Both these topics are small in nature, so I feel that easily we would be able to cover both these topics. The first topic is interest, right? And when it comes to interest, sir, interest is divided into two parts: simple interest and compound interest. So first we will be talking about simple interest, then we will talk about compound interest. However, both these subtopics, they are part of interest. ठीक है, ये इंटरेस्ट एक चैप्टर होता है, उसके दो सब टॉपिक्स हैं, सिंपल इंटरेस्ट, कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट. बोथ आर इंटर रिलेटेड, so we have to study both these topics in this class. And then we will take a very small topic, partnership, right? Partnership is a very small topic that will not take much of our time. ठीक है, तो वो हम एक डिस्कस कर लेंगे, because I have seen sometimes I have seen questions coming from partnership in our exam, right? So I thought कि पार्टनरशिप भी एक बार डिस्कस कर लेना चाहिए, बहुत टाइम लगता नहीं है. ठीक है, पढ़ के सब कुछ जाना है ताकि कुछ भी नया एग्जाम में ना मिले. ठीक है, और हम सब कर पाए, बिकॉज हम अच्छा करेंगे तो जाहिर सी बात है मेरिट अच्छा बनेगा. ठीक है, सो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट सिंपल इंटरेस्ट फर्स्ट, राइट? व्हाट इज सिंपल इंटरेस्ट? सी, व्हाई डू वी नीड इंटरेस्ट? बिकॉज वैल्यू ऑफ मनी टुडे इज नॉट the value of money today is not the same value tomorrow. आज जो 1 रुपए की कीमत है, कल वो ही 1 रुपए की कीमत नहीं रहती. ठीक है, आज 1 रुपए में, क्योंकि देखिए महंगाई रोज बढ़ती है, तो आज 1 रुपए में जितना सामान आएगा, कल 1 रुपए में उतना सामान नहीं आएगा, उससे कम आएगा, तो 1 रुपए की वैल्यू गिर गई. ठीक है, so when we start simple interest, sir, in simple interest first we need to talk about these subparts. In simple interest we have various terms. First we have principal amount, which is represented by P. Then we have rate of interest, which is represented by capital R, right, which will be in terms of percentage. Then we have time, which is represented by T, and then we have I, which is simple interest, right? अब देखिए सिंपल इंटरेस्ट क्या होता है कि वी हैव टू काइंड्स ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, सिंपल इंटरेस्ट एंड कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट. तो यहीं पे ही डिफरेंस समझ लीजिए, वर्बल एक डिफरेंस समझ लीजिए. ठीक है, दैट इन simple interest your principal amount is constant. In simple interest your principal amount is constant. जो अमाउंट आपने एक बार रख दिया, अब आपको हर साल उसी पे ही इंटरेस्ट मिलेगा. बट व्हेन यू गेट इंटरेस्ट ऑन इंटरेस्ट, इट इज कॉल्ड कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट. जब आपको इंटरेस्ट पे भी इंटरेस्ट मिलने लगे तो आप कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट लेते हैं. ठीक है, तब कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट लगता है. जैसे कि एक सिंपल सा एग्जांपल दूं, बैंक में जब हम पैसा रखते हैं तो बैंक में जो इंटरेस्ट हमें मिलता है वो कंपाउंड होता है. ठीक है, क्योंकि इंटरेस्ट पे इंटरेस्ट मिलता है. So in simple interest, principal is going to be constant, principal amount is going to be constant, and the formula to calculate simple interest is I equals to PRT upon 100. ऐसा आपने स्कूल में भी पढ़ा होगा, I into P into R into T upon 100. That is your simple interest, right? And now we have one more formula, amount equals to principal plus interest. Principal plus interest, right? When you add your interest to the principal amount, you get your final amount. This is final amount, this is principal amount. तो इसको final amount ही लिखते हैं ताकि हम कंफ्यूज ना हो, क्योंकि प्रिंसिपल के साथ भी हम कई बार अमाउंट कहेंगे. So your final amount is principal plus interest. A equals to P plus I. A equals to P plus I. When you add your interest on principal, right, you get your final amount जो आपको मिलेगा. For example, if I borrow 100 rupees from you on simple interest, आप कहते हैं कि ठीक है 1 साल के लिए आपको 100 rupees चाहिए, I'll charge you 10% इंटरेस्ट, आई चार्ज यू 10% इंटरेस्ट। मैंने कहा ठीक है सर, कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है। सो 10% इंटरेस्ट ऑन 100 रुपीज, 10% ऑफ 100 इज 10 rupees, 10% of 100 is 10 rupees. So now next year I am going to pay you 110 rupees. On your principal amount of 100 rupees, I added 10 rupees extra. So the final amount that you are going to get will be 110 rupees. First, you will take 100 rupees, which was the principal amount that you lended me, right? And then you will take 10 rupees extra on that as your interest, right? So total amount that you are going to receive will be 110 rupees. That will be your final amount. And to calculate simple interest, we have a formula P into R into T upon 100. And please take a note here. Please take a note here that simple interest for every year is constant. Simple interest for every year is constant. ठीक है, हर साल का सिंपल इंटरेस्ट सेम होगा. सिंपल इंटरेस्ट फॉर एवरी ईयर इज कांस्टेंट और सिंपल इंटरेस्ट फॉर एवरी ईयर इज सेम. ठीक है, हर साल का सिंपल इंटरेस्ट जो होगा वो सेम होगा. एवरी ईयर यू गेट दी सेम सिंपल इंटरेस्ट. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल नाउ if I borrow 100 rupees for 2 years of time, if I borrow 100 rupees from you for 2 years of time and you say कि ठीक है, I'll give you 100 rupees but I will take 10% simple interest, right? I will charge 10% simple interest to you. So I will say okay. So first year, right, that 10% of simple interest would be 10% of 100, that is 10 rupees. Next year also I am going to pay you 10% on the same 100 rupees. Right now I am not going to pay you on 110 rupees because you are not charging me compoundedly. You are charging me, right? You are charging me simple, right? You are charging me simply. You are not charging me compoundedly. So next year also I will pay you 10% on 100 rupees. That is 10 rupees more. So now at 2 years I am going to pay you 120 rupees. Sir, in 2 years of time I am going to pay you 120 rupees. ठीक है? Understand this. So based on this formula we have different questions. So let's go to the practice questions. ठीक है, इसमें और कोई बहुत ज़्यादा theory नहीं है जो कि आपको समझनी है. Through the questions we are going to build up the concept that how we are going to approach the question. But for every question we are going to use the same formula P into R into T upon 100. ठीक है. So let's go to question. If the rate of simple interest is 12% per annum, the amount that would fetch a interest of 6,000 per annum is. So now we have to find out the amount which is going to fetch this 6,000 rupees interest, right? So अब देखिए क्या करिएगा शुरुआत में in the start if you feel difficulty कि सर नहीं समझ में आता क्या प्रिंसिपल है, क्या इंटरेस्ट है, क्या अमाउंट है, ठीक है, नहीं समझ में आता हमको, तो आप सिंपली पहले ना कुछ क्वेश्चंस तक 5 to 6 क्वेश्चंस तक आप लिखेंगे what is your principal, what is your amount, right, what is rate of interest, what is time, or what you need to find. So now my question says if the rate of simple interest is 12%, that means value of R is given to you 12% per annum, the amount that would fetch an interest of, so interest of rupees 6,000, that means this 6,000 rupees is my interest, correct? And now my time period is that would fetch an interest of 6,000 per annum. So now my time period is 1 year. Now my time period is 1 year. So now I have value of R, I have value of I have value of T. I need to find value of P because I need to find the amount which would fetch. That means interest, simple interest is given on principal amount. So I have to find out the value of principal. I have to find out the value of principal. Okay? And my formula is I equals to PRT upon 100. So value of I is 6,000. Value of P needs to be found. Value of R is 12. Value of T is 1 upon 100. With 12, this is going to cancel out 500 times because 12 5s are 60. 2 0 पीछे बच गए. Take 100 to this side. Value of P comes out as 50,000. Simple. ठीक है. So इस तरीके से अगर शुरू में कुछ क्वेश्चंस में लिख लेंगे तो आपको आगे दिक्कत नहीं होगी. Let's see one more question. Now this is 3.5%. ये हाफ जो है वो ठीक है नेक्स्ट लाइन में चला गया, बट इस हाफ को वहां पे रखें. 3.5%. That means my interest would be 3.5%. Now, do you know how to convert this 3.5 to fraction? आपने स्कूल में भी पढ़ा है, right? This is mixed fraction, 3 full 1/2. How to convert 3 full 1/2 into fraction? 2 3s are 6, 2 3s are 6. This 2 is going to multiply with this 3, 2 3s are 6, plus 1, 7. So my rate of interest will be 7/2%. Now see, rate of interest is 7/2%. What sum of money will produce 70 rupees as simple interest? So this 70 rupees is simple interest. Time period is 4 years. In 4 years, because my time period is 4 years, right? I have to find out the value of P. Okay? I'll give you 30 seconds, calculate this. So I equals to P into R into T upon 100. Interest is 70 rupees. Principal needs to be found. Rate of interest is 7/2 into 100 will be carried down. Time period is 4 years. Now with 7 this will cancel out 10 times. With 4 this will cancel out 25 times. So value of P will be value of P will be 10 into 2 into 25. This will go here. So 50 into 10, 500. That will be your answer. 525 आ रहा है. What sum of money will produce 70 at simple interest? What sum of money will produce simple interest at 3 1/2%? अच्छा, ये दो सब ऑप्शन एक ही जैसे कॉपी हो गए. ठीक है, टाइपिंग एरर है. मेक अ करेक्शन हियर. दिस इज नथिंग बट जस्ट अ टाइपिंग एरर. This will be 500, 520. So my answer will be 500. ठीक है. Now my question is, what is the rate of interest when simple interest on 800 amount to 160 in 4 years? Right? So you have to find rate of interest. So now read the question carefully, find out what is your principal amount, what is your simple interest, what is your time period. And please make sure sir, simple interest will be less than principal amount. Simple interest जो होगा वो principal amount से कम ही होगा. ठीक है, जब रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट 100% के ऊपर हो तभी वो उससे ज्यादा हो सकता है. तो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट जब भी 100 से कम है, सिंपल इंटरेस्ट तो प्रिंसिपल से कम ही होना है. See, my principal is 800, my time period is 4 years, right, and my interest is 160 rupees. So I equals to PRT upon 100. This is my formula where value of P is 800, time period is 4 years, time rate of interest needs to be found upon 100, interest is 160. Right, 0 0 will cancel out. With 8 this will cancel out 20 times. With 4 this will cancel out 5 times. So value of R came out as 5%. All right, so now let's try this question. At what rate percent on simple interest will 750 amount to 900? सर 750 amount to 900. So यहाँ पे ये जो 900 है, this is your amount, value of A. This will be value of A, right? So value of A is 900, value of P 750. Now you know that A equals to P plus I. Sir, using this formula, can I find out value of I? क्या मुझे इंटरेस्ट मिलेगा? राइट, सो वैल्यू ऑफ इंटरेस्ट विल बी अमाउंट माइनस प्रिंसिपल. तो यहां पर निकालिए, अमाउंट इज 900, प्रिंसिपल इज 750. सर माय इंटरेस्ट विल बी 150. सो इंटरेस्ट इज 150, प्रिंसिपल आई नो, राइट, टाइम पीरियड इज 5 years, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट नीड्स टू बी फाउंड. सर आई इक्वल्स टू PRT अपॉन 100 यूज कर दीजिए. सी, जब आपको एक अमाउंट प्रिंसिपल से ज्यादा दिखे तो वो अमाउंट ही है, जाहिर सी बात है. इंटरेस्ट तो ज्यादा होना नहीं है क्योंकि रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट अब 100 से बहुत कम है. तो इंटरेस्ट तो कभी 900 का मिलेगा नहीं जब तक आपका रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट 100 के ऊपर ना चला जाए, और वो जा नहीं रहा. ठीक है, तो जाहिर सी बात है ये अमाउंट दे रखा है. कैलकुलेट दिस. प्रिंसिपल इज 750, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट नीड्स टू बी फाउंड. और सॉरी, टाइम पीरियड में 5% लिख दिया गलती से, 5 years होगा. इंटरेस्ट विल बी 150. कैंसिल दिस आउट, 5. सो इस तरफ ले गए, वैल्यू ऑफ आर केम आउट एज 4%. All right, let's try this one, sir. How much time will it take for an amount of 900 to yield 81 as interest at 4.5% per annum of simple interest? So now we have to find out the time period. See, how much time will it take for an amount of 900? So my principal is 900. Yield and interest of 81 rupees. So interest is 81 rupees at 4.5% per annum. So rate of interest is 4.5%. We have to find time. So I equals to PRT upon 100. Right. So principal is 900. All right, I'll write it here. So interest is 81, principal is 900. Rate of interest is 4.5, time period is T upon 100. So take this out with 9, this will be 9 times, with 4.5, this will cancel out 2 times, so time will be 2 years. 9 जो है वो 4.5 का डबल होता है ना. Try this one. Arun took a loan of 1400 with simple interest for as many years as the rate of interest. If he paid 681 as interest at the end of loan period, what was the rate of interest? Try this. See, he took simple interest for as many years as rate of interest. So value of T equals to value of R. Here T equals to R because time period is equals to rate percent. So T equals to R. निकालिए, कोशिश करिए. See, principal is 1400 rupees, interest is 686, T equals to R. So I know that value of I equals to PRT upon 100. Sir, interest is 686, principal is 1400, rate of interest and time period are same, so I am replacing value of T as R. मुझे क्या निकालना है? Rate of interest. So I am replacing value of T as R because time period is equals to value of rate of interest. So T की जगह पे R रख सकते हैं, T की जगह पे R रख सकते हैं ना यहाँ पे. So 100 will cancel out. With 14 this is going to cancel out 456. 56, then this will be 12, 126, 9, 49 times. So value of R square, because R into R square is 49, so value of R will be root of 49. Root of 49 is 7, so rate of interest is 7%. अच्छा, दो बार 7% टाइप है. आज बड़ी टाइपिंग एरर करी है. All right. Fine. Try this one. The sum required to earn a monthly interest of 400 at 10% per annum at simple interest is monthly interest of 400. Now, sir, this interest is monthly, right? This interest is monthly. So 12 महीने का interest क्या हो जाएगा? If this is monthly interest, 400 is monthly interest, yearly interest will be 400 into 12. Yearly interest will be 400 into 12. ठीक है, तो you got now value of I, you need value of P, value of R is 10%, time period is 1 year, because you need to calculate 4800 yearly interest, that means time period is 1 year. ठीक है. अगर कोई ऐसा भी करता है कि टाइम पीरियड को 1/12 ले लेता है, बिकॉज 1 month is 1/12 ईयर, दैट इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट. बट उस केस में फिर आप इंटरेस्ट 400 ही रखेंगे. अगर आप ऐसे करना चाहते हैं कि सर मैं टाइम पीरियड को 1/12 लेना चाहता हूं, तो फिर वैल्यू ऑफ इंटरेस्ट 400 ही रहेगा. लेकिन टाइम पीरियड को अगर आप 1 ईयर लेते हैं तो इंटरेस्ट हो जाएगा 400 into 12. इफ यू वांट टू कैलकुलेट, अदरवाइज ऐसे ही छोड़ दीजिए. ठीक है, क्योंकि कैंसिल आउट कुछ ना कुछ तो होगा. Alright, so this 10 will be multiplied here, so value of P will be 400 into 12, 4800 into 10, 48,000. ठीक है, like this. ये तो बड़े सिंपल से सवाल है, आप लोग कर लेते हैं. But what I want, this is also simple. Let's see how you can analyze this question. A sum of money at simple interest amounts to 815 in 3 years and 854 in 4 years. What is the sum? मैंने आपको एक लाइन दी थी that simple interest is constant for every year. Simple interest for every year, simple interest is same. For every year, simple interest is same. Simple interest is constant. Use that line. आपको आंसर मिल जाएगा, अब भी मिल जाएगा. सी माई क्वेश्चन सेज देयर इज अ प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट. मैं एक बार एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ and then I'll give you one more minute to try. There is a principal amount which gets to 815 in 3 years, and the same principal amount it gets to 854 in 4 years. Correct, sir? क्योंकि simple interest is always calculated on principal, right? So a principal amount gets 815 in 3 years of time, and the same principal amount get 854 in 4 years of time. So can I say that in this 1 year gap, because this is 3 years time, so this will be 1 more year gap. In this 1 year gap, 815 is becoming 854. तो कुछ ना कुछ इंटरेस्ट मिला होगा. 815 से 854 हो गया अगर मेरा अमाउंट, तो जो इंटरेस्ट मिला होगा वही तो ऐड हुआ होगा, बिकॉज प्रिंसिपल तो कांस्टेंट है. प्रिंसिपल इज कांस्टेंट थ्रू आउट द कैलकुलेशन. सो नाउ व्हेन आई सॉल्व दीज टू वैल्यूज, आई विल गेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 1 year. I will get interest of 1 year, and I know that for every year simple interest is constant. So if I subtract that 1 year interest for 3 years, right, if I take this 1 year interest and calculate the 3 year interest, and when I subtract that 3 year interest from 815, I will get my principal amount. निकालिए पहले ये 1 year का इंटरेस्ट निकालिए, इन दोनों को सब्ट्रैक्ट करके जो इंटरेस्ट आएगा उसका 3 times ले लीजिए, वो यहां पर मिला इंटरेस्ट होगा, उसको 815 से सब्ट्रैक्ट कर दीजिए, आपको प्रिंसिपल मिल जाएगा. बिकॉज दिस 815 इज प्रिंसिपल प्लस इंटरेस्ट. सर ये जो 815 है ना, वो प्रिंसिपल प्लस इंटरेस्ट है. दिस 815 रुपीज इज प्रिंसिपल प्लस इंटरेस्ट बिकॉज इट अमाउंट्स टू 815. So when I subtract these two values, 854 minus 815, I'll get 9, 4 minus 1, 3, 39. So 39 rupees is interest of 1 year. This 39 rupees is interest of 1 year. So in 3 years, I will get an interest of 39 into 3, that is 117 rupees. And when I subtract this 117 rupees of interest from 815, I'll get my principal amount. Right? 698. What I did, let me explain this again. There is a principal amount which amounts to 815 years in 3 years of gap. Right? And the same principal amount, it becomes 854 rupees in 4 years of time. So can I say that from this 815 to this 854 there is 1 year of gap? Okay. So if I subtract both these values, I will get interest of 1 year. I'll get simple interest of 1 year, and simple interest is constant for every year. Right? Why? Because this principal amount is becoming 815, right? This principal amount is becoming 854. राइट? तो जब आप इन दोनों को सब्ट्रैक्ट करते हो ना, तो आपको इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 1 ईयर मिलता है. देखिए आप ऐसे तो लिखते हो a इक्वल्स टू p प्लस आई, करेक्ट? सो दिस इज इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 3 years एंड a इक्वल्स टू p प्लस इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 4 years. ये दो इक्वेशन बनेंगी. सो 815 विल बी प्रिंसिपल, 815 will be principal plus interest of 3 years and 854 will be principal plus interest of 4 years. दोनों को सब्ट्रैक्ट करिए, PP कैंसल आउट. 4 years इंटरेस्ट में से 3 years इंटरेस्ट गया तो इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 1 year बचा, which will be 854. देखिए, ठीक है, जो आप ऐसे लिख के सीख सकते हैं, आपने यहाँ पे वर्बली किया, तो ये ऐसे आता है अमाउंट इक्वल्स टू P प्लस आई से, बिकॉज सिंपल इंटरेस्ट इज constant for every year. Simple interest is constant for every year. Right? So once you got 39 rupees as your interest of 1 year, right, you will say that in 3 years at a rate of 39, you will get 117 rupees interest. When you subtract 117 rupees interest from your principal, right, when you subtract 117 rupees from your amount, right, you will get your principal. Simple. ठीक है. Same thing, but here I am changing the gap. Now, a sum of money amounts to 9800 after 5 years and 12,005 rupees after 8 years at the same rate of simple interest. The interest per annum is, I have to find out the rate of interest. To find out the rate of interest, first I should know my principal amount, I should know my rate of interest. पहले मुझे principal amount पता होना चाहिए, मुझे interest पता होना चाहिए. Then I can calculate my rate of interest. See, there is a principal amount which becomes 9800 in 5 years of time, and the same principal amount, because interest is always calculated on principal amount, becomes 12,005 rupees in 8 years of gap. So can I say that 9800 is becoming 12,005 rupees in 3 years of gap, because 5 plus 3 8 years. So in this 3 years of gap, how much interest I will get? Subtract both these values, you will get interest of 3 years. राइट, इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 3 years मिल गया तो आप इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 1 year निकाल के इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 5 years निकाल सकते हैं. उसको जब आप 9800 में से सब्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे प्रिंसिपल मिलेगा. व्हेन यू गेट द प्रिंसिपल, यूज योर फॉर्मूला I इक्वल्स टू PRT अपॉन 100, you will get your rate of interest. Try that. See, if I subtract both these values, I get 2225 rupees as interest of 3 years. Interest of 3 years. So interest of 1 year would be, interest of 1 year would be 2225 divided by 3, which will be 7. नहीं 2225 थोड़ी आएगा, 2205, sorry, 2205, right, 2205, not 25, 2205. Fine. So this will be 735 rupees. So interest of 1 year is 735 rupees. So interest of 5 years, interest of 5 years will be 735 into 5, which will be 5, 2 carry 7, 1 carry 3675. So subtract this interest of 5 years from 9800. I'll get my principal amount. I'll get my principal amount 3675. Subtract करिए. you'll get 5, 2, 1, 6, 6125 is your principal amount. So interest of 1 year is 735, principal is 6125, rate of interest needs to be found, time period is 1 year, because 6125 is giving me 1 year interest as 735, at what rate? This was my question. So ये calculative है, this question is calculative, but you have to do. आप ये flow chart नहीं बनाते हैं, बस ये तो आपको समझाने के लिए मैं बनाया हूँ यहाँ पे, आप बस ये नहीं बनाएंगे एग्जाम में. You will simply subtract both these values, you will get interest of 3 years, right? Then you will find interest of 5 years and you will solve. So now solve this. With 7, 56, 56, 52, with 7 this will cancel out, 105 times 7 8s are 56, 56, 52, 7 7s are 49, 875. Now 105, with 105 can I cancel this? No. So it's better that I cancel this out with 5. With 5 this will be 21. Yes, 7 से फिर जा सकता है. 17. Again I can cancel out this with 7. 7 15 times with 7. This will cancel out 1, 2, 5 times. Right, with 5 3 times, with 5 25 times, with 25 4 times. So value of R will be 3 into 4, 12. Right, hear me out again. What you did, it was said that a principal amount amounts to rupees 9800 in 5 years. Right, and the same principal amounts to 12,005 rupees in 8 years of gap. So I said that from 9800 to 12,005 rupees there is a 3-year gap, correct? So in this 3-year gap I am getting some interest because principal is constant. तो ये 9800 जब 12,005 rupees बना तो सिर्फ interest की वजह से बना, right? And that interest is difference of these two, which is 2,205 rupees. So in 3 years, if I am getting 2,205 rupees as simple interest, then 1 year interest will be 2,205 rupees, 2,205 rupees divided by 3, which is 735. So 735 is my simple interest of 1 year, right? It is my simple interest of 1 year. Similarly, to calculate simple interest of 5 years, I will multiply this 1 year interest with 5 years. I'll get this much interest. And when I subtract this much interest from 9800, the amount, I will get principal amount. Right? So principal amount came out as 6125. So now on this 6125 principal, getting an interest of 75 in 1 year at what rate? So we need to find value of R. बस फिर आपको calculations करना. So this question was calculative, but ऐसा समझ लीजिएगा इस क्वेश्चन को दोबारा, राइट? आने को आ सकता है, बहुत टफ नहीं है, बस कैलकुलेटिव होता है. Try this. A sum of 700 is lent at a rate of 6% per annum. Find the interest at the end of 4 years. Try this. ठीक है, अब मेरे ख्याल से आपको जरूरत नहीं पड़ती होगी लिखने की. सो वी नीड टू फाइंड वैल्यू ऑफ आई. वैल्यू ऑफ पी इज 700, rate is 6%, time is 4 years, right, upon 100. This will cancel out. So value of I will be 7 6 are 42 into 4, 168. This will be my answer. चलिए एक डेसिमल वाले वैल्यू करिए, देखते हैं निकलती है कि नहीं. Interest will be 1092 into 10, time period is 7 upon 100. So this will cancel out. 4, 1 carry, 4, 6 carry, 764.4. Right? Simple. Now this sort of question. A sum of money triples itself in 3 years, in 8 years, simple interest. Right? Find the rate percent per annum. A sum of money triples itself. Triples itself means that amount equals to 3p. A sum of money triples itself. That means the amount which I am going to get will be 3 times of principal. So amount equals to 3p, and I know that amount is equal to principal plus interest. So amount is 3p, principal is p. What would be interest? Subtract this, right? 3p minus p, interest will be 2p. So when I will be getting interest of twice the principal, when I will be getting an interest which is twice the principal, the amount that I am going to get will be 3 times of principal, because principal पे twice of principal का interest मिल गया, तो amount क्या मिला? 3 times of principal. Right? So now at what rate I am going to get 2 times of principal as interest in 8 years of time? That is my question. So I equals to PRT upon 100. ये बात समझ में आ गई ना? A sum of money triples itself. That means the amount that I am going to get after 8 years will be 3 times of principal. So my amount will be 3 times of principal. My principal is P, my amount is 3P. So interest will be 3P minus P, 2P. So at what rate in 8 years of time I will get an interest of 2P? Calculate this. Simple. करिए calculate. See, P and P will cancel out. With 2 this will cancel out 4 times, 25 times. So value of R would be 25%. ठीक है. Now try this question entirely on your own. A sum of money doubles in 12 years. In how many years it will triple at simple interest? A sum of money doubles itself. That means my amount will be 2p. If amount is 2p, interest will be amount equals to principal plus interest. Amount is 2p. So my interest will be, take p to the other side, p rupees. So at what rate in 12 years I'll get an interest of p rupees on p rupees principal? P will cancel out. So value of R will be 100 by 12, which is 25 by 3, which is 6. नहीं, टाइम पीरियड निकालना था. क्या दे रखा है? A sum of money doubles itself in 12 years. In how many years will it triple? अच्छा, a sum of money, अरे सॉरी, चलिए रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट अगर हम इसमें कैलकुलेट करें, सो इट विल बी 6 फुल 1/3 सपोज, राइट. हालांकि ऐसे करेंगे नहीं, बट ठीक है, हमने एक वैसा क्वेश्चन किया तो हमने रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट निकाल लिया. ठीक है, ट्रिपल करना है आपको. सी, सम ऑफ मनी इज गेटिंग डबल. सो आप चाहें तो इंटरेस्ट निकालेंगे, बट इंटरेस्ट निकालने पे यहाँ पे जो है टाइम बहुत ज्यादा लग जाएगा, राइट. In how many years will it triple itself? So in 12 years, if I am getting 2p as interest, then to get p rupees interest, because in 12 years if I got p rupees of interest, because I am getting p rupees of interest in 12 years, so in next 12 years I'll get p rupee of interest more, right. So 12 plus 12, 24 years, my total interest will be 2p, so my amount will be p plus 2p, that is 3p. So 24 years will be my answer. ठीक है, वो तो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट अगर निकालना पड़ता तो इस तरीके से. आई थॉट वी हैव टू कैलकुलेट रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. इन हाउ मेनी इयर्स विल इट ट्रिपल इटसेल्फ? सी, माय अमाउंट इज बिकमिंग डबल. आई विल एक्सप्लेन दिस क्वेश्चन अगेन. माय अमाउंट इज बिकमिंग डबल, राइट, double the principal. So that means if my amount is 2p on p rupees principal, if I am getting the amount of 2p rupees, that means my interest was 2p minus p rupees. Now I got this p rupees interest in 12 years, but I want my amount to be 3p. If I want my amount to be 3p, then my interest should be 2p. So if I get p rupees of interest in 12 years, to get 2p interest, I will take 12 more years, right. क्योंकि एक p का इंटरेस्ट मिलने में 12 years लगते हैं, तो 2p का इंटरेस्ट मिलने में 12 plus 12, 24 years लगने चाहिए. ठीक है, सिंपल है. ये तो एक्सप्लेन किया मैंने आपको. ठीक है, कोशिश करिए कि आप डायरेक्ट करें. Try this one. A person borrows 3,000 for 2 years at 5% per annum, simple interest. He immediately lends it to another person at 6 full 1/4% for 2 years. The gain in the transaction is, so a person is borrowing 3,000 rupees for 2 years at 5%, but he is lending the same amount at 6 full 1/4% for 2 years. तो गेन कितना होगा? तो सर देखिए, प्रिंसिपल इज कांस्टेंट, रेट टाइम पीरियड इज कांस्टेंट, बट रेट इज डिफरेंट. प्रिंसिपल इज कांस्टेंट, टाइम पीरियड इज कांस्टेंट, तो जो भी प्रॉफिट आएगा उसको वो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट की वजह से आएगा ना, क्योंकि 5% पे बोरो किया और सामने वाले को 6.25% पे दे दिया, यानी कि 1.25 इंटरेस्ट ज्यादा मिला ना। 1/4 कितना होता है? 0.25। सो 6.25% पे दे दिया तो 1.25 ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट पे दिया ना, तो 3000 पे 1.25 इंटरेस्ट से 2 साल में कितना इंटरेस्ट मिलेगा ये निकाल सकते हैं। 3000 पे 1.5 on 3000 rupees at a rate of 1.25% for 2 years, how much interest will you get? That will be your profit. Because if I'm borrowing from someone at 5%, right, but I'm lending it to I'm lending the same amount at 6.25% for 2 years. So this tells me that since I'm lending the same amount, my time period is also same, but since my rate of interest is different, so the difference of interest will come because of that rate of interest. क्योंकि rate of interest अलग है इसलिए तो difference आया ना, और वो rate of interest कितना अलग है? 1.25। तो इसकी वजह से जो difference आएगा वही आपको मिलेगा। Calculate this. So 30 into 1.25 into 2, 2.5. Calculate 25 into 3, 75 rupees. Right, 75 rupees will be your interest for 2 years. Sir, this will be 2 years interest. तो 1 year interest कितना हुआ? Divide interest for 1 year will be divide 75 by 2, 37.5. Because gain in transaction per year was asked. Per year. Per year it will be 75 by 2, 37.5. ठीक है? If the simple interest on a sum of money is 4 by 25 of sum, that means my interest is 4 by 25p. And the rate percent equals to number of years. R equals to T. The rate percent is, find that out. So we know that I equals to PRT upon 100. I am getting an interest of 4 by 25p on p rupees at a rate where time period is also equals to rate. Time period का जो value है वो rate के बराबर है upon 100. I am replacing t with r. So pp will cancel out, right? With 25 this will cancel out 4 times. Take 4 here. So 4 into 4, 16 equals to r square. So value of r will be root of 16, which is 4. So rate of interest is 4%. Simple. Now sir, this type of question, I have seen this type of question sometimes. A sum was put at simple interest at a certain rate for 2 years. Had it been put at 2% higher rate, it would have fetched 400 rupees more. Find the sum. See, a sum was put at a simple interest for a certain rate for 2 years. किसी एक रेट पे आपने सिंपल इंटरेस्ट पे रखा 2 years के लिए, तो कुछ रुपए आपको इंटरेस्ट मिला, you got some interest. But if you had put it for 2% higher rate of interest, you would have fetched 400 rupees more. Now why you are fetching this 400 rupees more? You are placing the same principal amount, You are placing it for the same time period, but you are getting more interest. Why? Because your rate of interest increased by 2%. तो ये जो 400 रुपीज मिल रहा है सर, ये इस 2% की वजह से ही मिल रहा है ना, क्योंकि 2% एक्स्ट्रा आया रेट. I have placed the principal amount, I have placed the principal on a certain rate for 2 years and I got some interest. ठीक है. Now, if I would have placed it at 2% more, if I would have placed the same principal, right, for the same time, but at 2% more rate of interest, I would have fetched 400 rupees more. So, I am placing the same principal, my time period is also same, but I am getting 400 rupees extra. Why? Because my rate of interest increased by 2%. So, ये जो 400 rupees आ रहा है extra, ये इसी rate की वजह से आ रहा है. So, just find out why, on what principal you will get 400 rupees as interest in a time of 2 years, right, at a rate of 2%, at a rate of 2%, right. This is rate, this is time upon 100. Calculate this with 4, this will cancel out 100 times. My principal is 10,000. Simple. Sir, I will be getting this 400 rupees extra only when my rate of interest increases, because my principal is same, my time period is same. अगर rate भी same होता तो ना ज़्यादा मिलता ना कम मिलता. Rate कम होता तो मेरा interest कम हो जाता. ठीक है ना? You got this 400 rupees extra because your rate of interest was 2% more. So because of 2% extra rate of interest in time period of 2 years, at what principal I'll get 400 rupees interest? That's what I need to find. Try this one based on same. A sum was put at a simple interest for a certain rate for 5 years. Had it been put 2% higher, it would have fetched 450 more. So I am fetching this 450 more because my rate of interest is 2% higher. So at what principal amount with a 2% extra rate, with a rate of 2% in 5 years, I'll get a interest of 450. That's what I need to find. Right, 2 5s are 10, 0 will cancel out, P is 4500. Khatam. Simple, one liner. So let's try this question. A person deposited 500 rupees for 4 years and 600 for 3 years at the same rate of simple interest in a bank. Altogether, he received 190 as interest. The rate of simple interest per annum was. He is depositing 500 rupees for 4 years. So on this 500 rupees in 4 years, he will get some interest at a rate of, let's say, R%. Right? He will get this interest I1, 500 rupees, 4 years at a certain rate. He will get this I1 interest. And now, when he deposits 600 rupees for 3 years at the same rate, right, he'll get this much interest, I2 interest, and value of I1 plus I2 is 190. Correct? So, बस इसको आप solve कर लीजिए. This will be 0 0 will cancel out, right? 0 0 will cancel out. So value of I1 is 5 into 4 20R plus value of I2 is 6 into 3 18R equals to 190. Solve this. 38R equals to 190. Find the value of R. 190 by 38. So that is 10 by 2 to 5 times 5%. So fine, sir. All right. Now please see these sort of questions. The difference between compound interest and simple interest for the amount of rupees 5,000 in 2 years is 32. The rate of interest is. The difference between compound interest and simple interest on the amount of rupees 5,000 in 2 years is 32. The rate of interest is. अब आप बोलेंगे कि सर अभी compound interest तो पढ़ा नहीं है, right? But यहाँ पे आपको compound interest का knowledge का जरूरत नहीं है इस question में, right? To find out the difference between simple interest and compound interest for 4 years. So difference between simple interest and compound interest for 2 years equals to P R square upon 100 square is given by the formula P into R square upon 100 square. So difference between simple interest and compound interest for 2 years is calculated as P R square upon 100 square, P into R square upon 100 square. Now see, difference between simple interest and compound interest for 2 years is rupees 32. So difference is 32 equals to, principal is 5,000. On 5,000 you are getting this difference. At what rate? So value of R square needs to be found upon 100 into 100. Sir, these two 0 and this 1 0 will cancel out. With 5 this will cancel out 2 times. So value of R square will be 32 into 2 64. So value of R will be root of 64, which is 8%. Simple. Right. So ये लिख लीजिएगा, difference between simple interest and compound interest for 2 years is P into R square upon 100 square. ठीक है, एंड ये भी एक लिख लीजिए, इफ द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट एंड सिंपल इंटरेस्ट और अ सम ऑफ मनी फॉर 3 years इज 186. सो लिख लीजिए, डिफरेंस बिटवीन सिंपल इंटरेस्ट एंड कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट फॉर 3 years equals to P R square upon 100 square into R upon 100 plus 3. ये पूरा फॉर्मूला होता है, ये आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज बेसिक से निकालने बैठे ना, पहले 3 साल का सिंपल इंटरेस्ट 3 साल का कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट, बहुत लंबा कर देंगे आप क्वेश्चन को. सो इट्स बेटर दैट यू प्लेस इट दिस वे. See, difference between simple interest and compound interest for 3 years. Now can you just place the values, because difference is given to you, you have to find principal, rate of interest is given to you. Try this, let's see whether you can calculate or not. See, difference is 186. Principal needs to be found. Rate of interest is 10 into 10 upon 100 into 100 into 10 upon 100 plus 3. So this 100 will cancel out, this will cancel out. So it will be 186 equals to P upon 100 into 1 by 10 plus 3. So this will be 31 by 10. 31 by 10. ठीक है, ब्रैकेट लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Into 31 by 10. Solve this, take LCM. This will 30, 30 plus 1, 31. Right. So with 31, this will cancel out 6 times. So value of P will be 6 into 100 into 10. That is 6,000. And this will be your answer. ये फॉर्मूले हैं दोनों. This is difference between simple interest and compound interest for 3 years, and this is difference between simple interest and compound interest for 2 years. ठीक है. So try this question. Nikhil borrowed sum of money at a rate of interest 5% per annum for the first 2 years and 8% per annum for next 5 years and 10% per annum for a period beyond 7 years. If he pays total interest of rupees 8,000 at the end of 10 years, then find the money Nikhil borrowed. So for the first 5 years, he will pay the interest at a rate of 5%. For first 2 years, he will pay the interest at a rate of 5%. For next 5 years, he will pay the interest at a rate of 8%. And for period beyond 7 years, so first 2 years, next 5 years, total period is 7 years. So now, since he is borrowing for 10 years, for the last 3 years, he will pay the interest for at a rate of 10%. So total interest paid by him is 8,000. ठीक है. तो first interest that he is going to pay will be on P rupees at 5% for 2 years. This will be first interest. Then second interest he is going to pay on P rupees at 8% for next 5 years. Now first 2 years, next 5 years, total 7 years. And now for the remaining 3 years, he will pay interest on P rupees at 10%, this much. So value of I1 plus I2 plus I3 is 8,000 because total he is paying 8,000 interest. Now you have to find value of P. फटाफट पता कर लेंगे, करिए. So this will be 5 2s are 10, 0 will cancel out. 8 5s are 40, 0 kata, right? And यहाँ से 0 kata. So this is P by 10 plus 4P by 10 plus I3 is 3P by 10 equals to 8,000. So 4 plus 3 because denominator is constant, 8P equals to 8,000 into 10. ये 10 इस तरफ लेंगे, common लेके. So this will cancel out 1,000. Value of P will be 10,000. Simple. All right. Try this one. The simple interest on a certain sum for 8 months at 4% per annum is 129 less than the simple interest on the same sum for 15 months at 5% per annum. The sum is. करिए इस क्वेश्चन को. After this question we will shift to compound interest because we have solved every type of question on simple interest. Simple interest पे इससे बाहर कुछ भी नहीं जाएगा. See, whatever interest that you get on a principal amount at 5% per annum for 15 months, right, it is going to be 129 rupees more because 8-month interest at 4% is 129 less. तो दोनों interest का difference, right, 8-month interest on 4% at a rate of 4% and 15-month interest at a rate of 5%, their difference is 129. बस प्रिंसिपल निकालना है. सो एट 5% ऑन P rupees at 5% per annum for 15 months, right, I'll get this much interest 15 by 12 into 100 because 15 months is 15 by 12 years. ठीक है, 1 month 1 by 12 होता है तो 15 months 15 by 12 years होगा. माइनस ऑन P rupees at 4% per annum for 8 months I will get this much interest. Time period will be 8 by 12 years. 8 months is 8 by 12 years and their difference is 129. Now calculate value of P. जैसे 1 month में आपको याद होगा एक 1 month का क्वेश्चन दिया था, वहां पे टाइम पीरियड 1 by 12 लिया था, तो 15 months का टाइम पीरियड 15 by 12 years होगा. See, this will be 75p minus 32p upon 12 into 100 equals to 129. So 75 minus 32, 3, and this will be 43. Right, 43, this is 75p, so 43p 12 into 100 equals to 129. With 43, this will cancel out 3 times. Right, so value of P will be 3 into 1200, that is 3600. Khatam. And this will be your answer. Okay. Now after that, sir, let's go to the concept of compound interest. Now when you get interest on interest, the calculated interest is called compound interest. जब आपको interest पे interest मिले, what you get is compound interest, right? And in compound interest, in school time you must have learned this formula: A equals to P into 1 plus R upon 100 to the power n, where n represents number of years, R represents rate of interest, P represents principal, A represents amount, and amount equals to principal plus interest. ये आपको पता है, but you are not going to use this formula. You are never going to use this formula, right? क्योंकि हम compound interest ऐसे नहीं निकालेंगे. अगर ऐसे हम निकालने बैठे तो सर ठीक है, एक एक क्वेश्चन में 10-10 8-8 10-10 मिनट लगेंगे, तो जाहिर सी बात है इतना टाइम तो हमारे पास है नहीं एग्जाम में. ठीक है, तो आप इन क्वेश्चंस को कैसे करेंगे वहां पे अब वो सीखिए. So let me take directly to the question, and through the question I'll tell you the concept. You have already studied percentage with me, and since the concept of percentage is clear to you, the fractional concept of percentage is clear to you, we'll solve the question with that concept. Now see, a sum amounts to 1352 in 2 years at 4% compound interest. The sum is, so I have to find out principal. ठीक है, a sum amounts to, so amount is given 1352, time period is given 2 years, rate of interest is given 4%, right? I have to find out the principal. I have to find out the principal. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले आप क्या करेंगे इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस में, आप क्या करेंगे, right? In questions of compound interest, what you are going to do, you are going to convert your rate of percentage to fraction. 4% is 1 by 25, 4 upon 100. ठीक है, अगर फ्रैक्शनल वैल्यू याद नहीं है तो याद करिए, बट 4% is 4 by 100, so 1 by 25, right? Now in a fraction, remember that in a fraction the value in denominator is always your principal amount. The value which is at the denominator is your principal and value which is in your numerator is your interest. ये बात ध्यान में रखिएगा, ठीक है? When you convert your rate of percentage to fraction, value that you are going to get in denominator will always be your principal and value that you are going to get in your numerator will always be interest. That means on a principal of 25 rupees, you are getting an interest of 1 rupee. On a principal of 25 rupees, you are getting an interest of 1 rupee. Now see that for first year, when your principal was 25 rupees, on 25 rupees, you get an interest of 1 rupee. So your amount becomes 26 rupees. 25 rupee पे 1 रुपए का interest, तो amount क्या हो गया? 26 rupees, because amount is principal plus interest. Now for second year also, if your principal would have been 25, for second year, if your principal would have been 25, sir, I'm saying if means I'm taking an assumption. For second year, if my principal would have been 25, on 25 rupees, I will get 1 rupee interest. So next year also my amount will be 26. अभी आपके दिमाग में बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस होंगे, ठीक है? आप पूछने के लिए बेकरार होंगे, ठीक है? बट अभी रुक जाइए, ठीक है? I'll answer each and every query of yours without even asking you. मुझे पता है क्या डाउट्स हैं आपके दिमाग में, ठीक है? The first doubt that you have is that, sir, in compound interest, you said a few minutes back that when we get interest on interest, it is called compound interest. Now for first year, if you assume that your principal is 25 rupees, on that 25 rupees you get 1 rupee interest, so your amount becomes 26. चलो इतना समझ में आ गया, ठीक है सर? इतना हम मान लेते हैं कि for first year you are assuming your principal to be 25, you are supposing your principal to be 25, and then on 25 rupees you are saying 1 rupee was interest, so the amount that you got was 26 rupees. Now next year, don't you think this interest should be applied on 26 rupees? आप next year भी 25 ही ले रहे हो, next year तो 26 rupees पे interest मिलना चाहिए ना, क्योंकि interest calculated on interest, so next year तो 26 पे मिलना चाहिए, तो आप तो 25 ही ले रहे हो, ऐसा क्यों? तो सर, see, that is the beauty of fraction. That is the beauty of fraction कि आपने कहा, अब मेरी बात को बहुत अच्छे से सुनेगा और अपने मन में एक हाँ या ना में जवाब दीजिएगा, देखिए डाउट क्लियर हो जाएगा, ठीक है? When you said that suppose principal for first year was 25, suppose means you are taking an assumption, तो पहले साल के लिए, right, you are assuming a principal, so if you can assume the principal for the first year, why can't you assume the principal for the second year? किसने रोका है? If I can assume a value for the first year, why can't I assume the value for second year? Who is stopping me? Nobody can stop me, right? There is no concept, right? That is the beauty of fraction. There is no concept that would say, right, if I can assume the principal for first year, I cannot assume the principal for second year. There is no concept that says like that, right? So if I am assuming the principal for first year, I can also assume the principal for second year. I am not saying that second year principal was 25. I am saying suppose for second year, if principal would have been 25, if I am again assuming it, एक बार assume किया तो हम दोबारा भी assume कर सकते हैं, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. Now see, I'm saying that on a principal for first year, let's say if my principal was 25, on 25 rupees I got 1 rupee interest, my amount became 26. Now for second year, if my principal would have been 25, then again I will get 1 rupee interest and my amount will become 26. So now my total principal is 25 into 25, right? My total principal will be 25 into 25, 625. ठीक है, ऊपर से नीचे मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे. So my total amount will be 26 into 26, 676. Now see, if you remember squares and cubes, which I told you, right? Which I told you many classes back, that please try to memorize squares and cubes, right? You will solve these questions in a very easy way. So if my total principal would have been 625, in 2 years my amount will be 676, right? But in 2 years of time my amount is becoming 1352. So if my principal would have been 625, in 2 years of time my amount will be 676. But as per the question, in 2 years of time, if my amount is 1352, my principal will be what? X. Now you know this very well. In cross multiply, ऊपर नीचे की वैल्यू कट सकती है, आमने सामने कट सकती है. Now 1352 is twice of 676. So value of X will be 625 into 2, 1300. Oh sorry, 1250. 1250. 625 into 2, 1250. See, these values are going to cancel out. Let me explain again. In case of compound interest, to calculate compound interest or amount or principal, whatever you want to calculate, right? What you are going to do, you are simply going to convert your rate of interest to a fraction value. When you convert your rate of interest to a fraction value, the value that you are going to get in denominator will always be your principal, and the value that you will get in your numerator will always be your interest. Now you are saying, if my principal would have been rupees 25, on 25 rupees I will get 1 rupee interest, right? So let's say if first year my principal amount was 25. सर पहले साल ये 25 आपको कैसे पता? आप एज्यूम ही तो कर रहे हैं. तो पहले ईयर को अगर आप एज्यूम कर सकते हैं प्रिंसिपल, तो दूसरे ईयर का भी प्रिंसिपल आप एज्यूम कर सकते हैं, कोई आपको रोक नहीं सकता. ठीक है, अभी भी आपके दिमाग में कुछ डाउट्स हैं, मैं भी एक्सप्लेन करूंगा, चिंता मत करिए, मैं सब एक्सप्लेन करूंगा. अभी आप बहुत सारी चीजें मुझसे पूछना चाहते हैं, बट एक बार फिर से सुनिए. आई एम सेइंग फॉर फर्स्ट ईयर इफ माय प्रिंसिपल इज 25, ऑन 25 रुपीज आई विल गेट 1 rupee इंटरेस्ट, सो माय अमाउंट विल बिकम 26. ठीक है, बिकॉज अमाउंट इज प्रिंसिपल प्लस इंटरेस्ट. नाउ फॉर सेकेंड ईयर if my principal would have been 25, for second year also if my principal would have been 25, then on 25 I'll get 1 rupee interest, my amount will be 26. So my total principal will be 25 into 25. आपको हमेशा इन वैल्यूज को मल्टीप्लाई करना है. ठीक है, क्यों मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं सर, अब वो भी सुनिए. अच्छा एक बात बताइए सर, let's say my principal, let's say I have एक सेकंड रुकिएगा, मेरे को फ्रैक्शन में कुछ सोचने दीजिए सो दैट मैं आपको अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन कर सकूं. Let's say if I have 1/3 piece of a chocolate, ठीक है, एक चॉकलेट का मेरे पास 1/3 पीस है, ठीक है, 1/3 पीस है, और उसी चॉकलेट का अगर मुझे मान लीजिए मेरे ब्रदर जो है उसी चॉकलेट का मुझे 1/3 पीस और दे जाए, मेरे ब्रदर अगर मुझे 1/3 पीस और दे दें, तो मेरे पास टोटल कितनी चॉकलेट होगी, राइट? एक चॉकलेट के हमने 3 हिस्से किए, मेरे ब्रदर ने मुझे 1/3 हिस्सा दे दिया, ठीक है, लेकिन मैं थोड़ा सा फिर मुंह बनाया, थोड़ा सा उदास सा हो गया, तो मेरे ब्रदर ने कहा अच्छा ठीक है 1/3 और रख ले. तो मेरे पास ऑलरेडी 1/3 था, लेकिन मेरे ब्रदर ने मुझे 1/3 और दे दिया, तो मेरे पास टोटल कितनी चॉकलेट आ गई, 2/3. कैसे पता किया आपने? आपने दोनों वैल्यूज को ऐड किया, आपने दोनों वैल्यूज को ऐड किया. तो फ्रैक्शन में टोटल निकालने के लिए आप टोटल वैल्यूज को ऐड ही तो करते हो. फ्रैक्शन में टोटल निकालने के लिए आप वैल्यूज को ऐड ही करते हो ना, एग्री करेंगे आप? ठीक है. अब अगर मान लीजिए कि मेरे पास 1/3 पीस था, मेरे ब्रदर ने कहीं से मुझे चॉकलेट का लाके 1/2 पीस और दे दिया, हाफ पीस और दे दिया, ठीक है, तो अब जाहिर सी बात है कि मेरे पास टोटल कितनी चॉकलेट होगी. अब इन दोनों को ऐड करने के लिए आपको एलसीएम लेना पड़ेगा. इन दोनों को ऐड करने के लिए, इन दोनों फ्रैक्शंस को जहां पे डिनोमिनेटर अलग है, आपको एलसीएम लेना पड़ेगा. तो एलसीएम क्या होता है? मल्टीप्लाई। एलसीएम क्या होता है? मल्टीप्लाई। इसलिए आप यहां पर मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं क्योंकि ये फ्रैक्शनल वैल्यूज हैं जिसको आप अलग अलग करके लिख रहे हो. These are fractional values which you are writing separately. So to add these fraction values, you have to multiply because these are your assumptions. They are not sure values. They are your assumptions. ये सिर्फ आपके assumptions हैं. You are not sure whether these are correct values or not. Right? So before adding, you will take assumption. Right? Before adding, you took assumption, and since you are taking assumptions, you don't know whether denominator is same or different, so you will simply multiply. Same हुआ तब भी आप multiply कर देंगे तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. राइट देखिए इसमें तो आप मल्टीपल एलसीएम लेके ही ऐड करेंगे, लेकिन अगर 1/3 होता और सपोज किसी को नहीं पता कि डिनोमिनेटर सेम होता है तो ऐड डायरेक्टली हो जाता है, तो क्या करेगा? इसका एलसीएम लेगा. ठीक है, इसका एलसीएम लेगा कि सर यहाँ पर जो है चलो 3 और 3 का एलसीएम 6 बनाया. ठीक है, तो इसको 2 से मल्टीप्लाई किया, 2/6 प्लस 2/6. नाउ ही विल ऐड 4/6, तो अल्टीमेटली वो 2/3 होना है. ठीक है ना, तो डिनोमिनेटर सेम हो तब भी आप एलसीएम ले सकते हैं, इट विल नॉट ब्रिंग एनी डिफरेंस. लेकिन आपको नहीं पता कि सर यहाँ पे डिनोमिनेटर सेम आएगा अलग आएगा, हालांकि अलग ही आएगा क्योंकि इंटरेस्ट पे इंटरेस्ट लेना है. ठीक है, तो डिनोमिनेटर तो अलग ही आएगा, तो ये तो एजम्पशन है, तो यहाँ पे वैल्यू क्या आएगी पता नहीं, और हम कॉम्प्लिकेट करना नहीं चाहते अपने कैलकुलेशन. सो दैट्स व्हाई वी आर मल्टीप्लाइंग दीज वैल्यूज. दैट इज द अंडरलाइंग लॉजिक हियर. ठीक है. So now a sum lent at compound interest at 5% per annum will amount to 441 in 2 years. We have to find out the sum. So like amount is given 441, principal needs to be found, time period is 2 years, rate of interest is 5%. Convert this 5% to fraction, it is 1/20. So 20 will be my principal, 1 rupee will be my interest. वैसे ही करिए जैसे सिखाया है, और 3 इयर्स में भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी. थ्री इयर्स में आप 3 बार कर देंगे साइकिल को रिपीट, नथिंग एल्स. See, for first year, if my principal was 20 rupees, on 20 rupees I am getting 1 rupee interest, so my amount will be 21 rupees. For second year also, if my principal would be 20 rupees, on that I will get 1 rupee interest, so my amount will be 21 rupees. So my total principal would be 20 into 20, 400. Then in 2 years, my total amount will be 21 into 21, 441. So on a principal of 400 rupees, in 2 years, I will get an amount of 441. Right? That will be my answer. देखिए यहाँ तो डायरेक्ट आ गया, यहाँ तो डायरेक्ट आ गया, क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई भी करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी. ठीक है. Now try this one. The compound interest on 2800 for half year at 10% per annum. See, when your rate of interest is per annum, but your time period is half, right? If you want, you can take the rate of interest, you can take half of rate of interest, so your time period will be 1. When you take R, when you take rate of interest, when you take half of rate of interest, then your time period will be, your time will be 2 times, will be twice. Your time will be twice. Right? So what I will do, I'll say principal is 2800. See, rate of interest will be 10/2, 5%. ठीक है? So now time will be half into 2, 1 year. I will take double of time because I am taking rate of interest to be half. So rate of interest half लिया, time will be double. If rate of interest is 1/3, rate of interest becomes 1/3, time will be 3 times. ये बात ध्यान में रखिएगा. जब रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट हाफ करेंगे टाइम डबल हो जाएगा, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट को 1/3 करेंगे टाइम ट्रिपल हो जाएगा. ठीक है. सो नाउ इट विल बी 1 ईयर. सो इन 1 ईयर यू नो दैट, लिखिए एक चीज और नोट करके लिख लीजिए. टेक अ नोट, टेक अ नोट. फॉर 1 ईयर, फॉर 1 ईयर, फॉर 1 ईयर गैप, for 1 year gap, simple interest and compound interest are always same. For 1 year gap, simple interest and compound interest are always same. For 1 year gap, simple interest and compound interest are always same. ठीक है. For 1 year gap, simple interest and compound interest are always same. Now since here the gap is only 1 year, compound interest, simple interest same ही होगा, तो यहाँ पे I equals to PRT upon 100 ही निकाल दें. But this will be your compound interest only, 2800 at a rate of 5% in 1 year. Right? How much interest is it going to give you? 140 rupees. This interest will be your compound interest. So you will get 140. नहीं, for half years at 10% per annum. सर यहाँ पे फिर हाफ ईयर्स नहीं होगा, कुछ और टाइम होगा. शुड आई चेक? देख एक मिनट रुकिए. आई गेस देयर इज सम टाइपिंग ग्लिच. लेट मी चेक. जस्ट गिव मी 1 minute. इट विल नॉट टेक मोर देन 1 minute. आई हैव टू मेक श्योर कि फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट टाइम ऑनवर्ड्स दिस टाइपिंग मिस्टेक्स डोंट हैपन. क्योंकि टाइपिंग मिस्टेक्स से ना थोड़ा सा कॉन्फिडेंस हिल जाता है. इवन आई एग्री विद दिस. Let me check. One and a half years है. 1.5 years. Right? It is 1.5 years. That's why. One and a half years. Right? So since it is 1.5 years, that means now time will be double of 1.5 years. 1.5 years is 3/2. 1.5 years is 3/2 years. इसको आप 3/2 years लिख सकते हैं. So double of 3/2 years, time period will be 3 years. So now at a gap of 3 years, you have to calculate. So take the fractional value of 5%, that is 1/20. So 20 will be your principal, 1 rupee will be your interest. Same cheese, first year के लिए principal is 20, you get 1 rupee interest. Your amount will be 21 rupees. For second year also, if principal is 20, 1 rupee interest, amount will be 21. And for third year also, if your principal is 20, 1 rupee interest, amount will be 21. So total principal will be 20 into 20 into 20, 8,000. Amount will be 21 into 21 into 21, 9261. देखिए अब ये याद होगा, 21 का क्यूब आप जल्दी निकाल लेंगे. So when your principal is 8,000, in 3 years you get 9261 amount. So now on a principal of 2800, how much amount you are going to get? Right? Find that amount. यहाँ पे अमाउंट निकाल लेंगे, उसमें से 2800 को सब्ट्रैक्ट कर दीजिएगा, आपको प्रिंसिपल, आपको कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट मिल जाएगा. कैलकुलेट दिस. 2 zeros will cancel out. ठीक है. With 420 times 7 times. So now if I am going to calculate this value of x, 9261 into 7 by 20. So with 2, 10 times, so this will be 2, 4, 8, 6, 12, 3, 0.5, 4630.5, and then multiply it with 7, then again divide it with 10, you will get your amount. So I'll simply write it 463.05 into 7. Well, this will help me 35, 1 2 carry, 4 4 carry, 3 2, 3241.35, 3241.35 minus 2800, 0.35 बचना चाहिए जो कि ऑप्शन ए में है. I'll use my options. Since calculation is tough, I'll use my options to eliminate. ठीक है, इस तरीके से. So when your time period is in half years, right, you will take half of your rate of interest. In that case, you will double your time period. When you take half of rate of interest, क्योंकि एक ईयर तो निकालना आसान है बट हाफ ईयर का निकालना मुश्किल है. सो हाफ ईयर के लिए आप क्या करेंगे, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट को हाफ कर देंगे और टाइम पीरियड को डबल कर लेंगे. तो हाफ ईयर्स के वो 1 ईयर हो जाएगा, राइट. 2 टाइम पीरियड हो जाएंगे तो वो 1 ईयर के बराबर हो जाएगा. दैट्स व्हाट यू डू इन क्वार्टरली. Similarly, you do it in quarterly, right? That's what you do in quarterly. See, find the compound interest on a sum of 16,000 for 9 months at 20% per annum. Now you have to calculate for 9 months, right? So what you are going to do, you are going to take your rate of interest as 1/3. You will take your rate of interest as 1/3, right? And then you will take your time period of 9 months. So this will be 9 by 12 years into 3. You will take thrice of it, right? You will take thrice of it. So like rate of interest अगर 1/3 लिया है तो टाइम पीरियड जो हो जाएगा वो उसका 3 टाइम्स हो जाएगा, राइट. यानी कि 3 मंथ्स के 3 गैप हो जाएंगे. तो यहाँ पे आप टाइम पीरियड आप 3 इयर्स लिख सकते हैं क्योंकि 3 मंथ का आपने 1 ईयर मान लिया है, right? So your time period will become 3 years. So in case of this, when your interest is compounded quarterly, 3 months को 1 year के बराबर हम मान लेंगे, right? Whenever your interest is compounded quarterly, 3 months time will be equals to 1 year. So 3 months time is 1 year. So 9 months time will be 3 1 years. So 3 years. ठीक है. So rate of interest is 20 by 3%. 20 by 3% will be 20 by 300. So 0 will cancel out. This will be 1 by 15. So if my principal is 15, my interest will be 1 rupee. So for first year, if my principal is 15 rupees, my interest is 1 rupee, my amount will be 16 rupees. Then for next year also, if principal is 15 rupees, 1 rupee interest, amount will be 16. And for third year also, if principal is 15, amount will be 16. मल्टीप्लाई करिए, चाहे तो मल्टीप्लाई करिए. 15 का क्यूब, राइट, वैसे 3375 होता है. एंड देन 16 का क्यूब मैं भी भूल गया, वो 268 ऐसा कुछ था. ठीक है, अगर नहीं याद आता है तो कोई बात नहीं, आप डायरेक्ट भी कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, क्योंकि वैल्यूज तो आपस में कट ही जानी है. solve it with that way. Right, so you are going to solve it this way. हमसे क्या पूछा है, फाइंड दी CI. अच्छा, CI पूछ रहा है. हाँ, तो वैल्यूज को हम छोटा भी कर सकते हैं. अगर क्यूब्स मुझे याद हो तो मैं वैल्यूज को छोटा भी कर सकता हूँ. क्यूब्स देखिए क्या बनेंगे. 15 का क्यूब, 15 का क्यूब एंड देन 16 का क्यूब. चेक करिए एक बार क्या बनता है. 15 क्यूब इज 3375, 16 क्यूब इज 4096. ठीक है, ये बना. So now on 3375, if you are getting 4096 as amount, so interest कितना मिला, and that interest will be your compound interest. So 1972 and 40, 721 मिला, right? So on 3375, on a principal of 3375, you are getting an interest of 721. So now on 16,000, how much you are going to get? X. Now you will cross multiply. Okay, 28. This will be 57, 56, 59. So now calculate this. देखिए कितना आ रहा है. 3418 होना चाहिए, राइट? 3418, 3418 अप्रोक्सीमेटली आना चाहिए x का वैल्यू. चेक कर लीजिएगा, 3418 आएगा, पॉइंट समथिंग समथिंग. सो अप्रोक्सीमेटली इट विल बी 3418. ऑलराइट, हालांकि यहाँ पे अमाउंट नहीं पूछा है, so we'll say 3418. So in short, just I wanted to know that, I wanted to tell you that if your interest is compounded quarterly, take interest to be 1/3 and time period to be thrice. ठीक है, हालांकि इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, इतना कैलकुलेशन नहीं देता है. He'll keep it simple. See, if he is going to take values, he will take values like that, जो कि calculate cut होती हो. Find the compound interest on an amount of 8,000 at 5% per annum for 3 years. Now see, time is also in years, rate of interest is also in year, right? So simply convert fraction value of rate of interest, that is 1 by 20. So on 20 principal you are getting 1 rupee interest. So 3 साल में ऐसे निकालिए, right? For first year, if principal is 20 rupees, you will get 1 rupee interest, your amount will be 21. Calculated this way. Solve it. So for second year also, if principal will be 20 rupees, interest will be 1 rupee, so amount will be 21. On third year also, if principal is 20 rupees, amount will be 21. So total principal if would have been 8,000, amount will be 9261. तो कितना interest मिला? Take the difference, 1261. This will be your answer. On a principal of 8,000, your amount that you are getting after 3 years is 9261. That means the interest that you got is 1261. अच्छा, ये क्वेश्चन अभी बाद में करेंगे, पहले ज़रा ये कर लेते हैं, फिर उसको करेंगे. 2 years वाला जो डिफरेंस है उसका फॉर्मूला हम देख चुके हैं. इफ 7500 आर बोरोड एट कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट एट अ रेट ऑफ 4% पर एनम, then after 2 years the amount to be paid is, right? So find out the amount to be paid after 2 years. My rate of interest is per annum, my time period is also in years. So convert 4% to fraction value, that is 1 by 25. So on 25 rupees principal, I am getting 1 rupee interest. So for first year, if my principal was 25, on that I got 1 rupee interest, so my amount will be 26. Second year also, if my principal was 25, on that I will get 1 rupee interest, so my amount will be 26. So total principal, if would have been 625, my amount will be 676. In 2 years, if my total principal would have been 625 in 2 years, total amount I am going to get is 676. So 7500 के principal पे what will be my compound interest x? Calculate this value, sir. 25 times 300 times with 25, this will cancel out 12 times. So value of x will be 676 into 12. 6760 8112 8112. ठीक है, अगर देखिए इस तरीके का सवाल आ जाए कि जहां पे टाइम पीरियड निकालना पड़े, तो what you are going to do, rupees 800 at 5% per annum, compound interest will amount to 882. Now see, your principal is 800, your amount is 882. ठीक है, you have to find out the time period. To find out the time period, what you will do, you will divide the amount with principal. You'll divide the amount with principal. Now see, cancelling out, this is 441, this is 400. Now you know that 441 is a perfect square of 21, right? 400 is a perfect square of 20. तो यहां पर ये जो पावर में वैल्यू आई, this will be your number of years, right? So simply find the ratio of amount to principal. In those questions where you have to find out the time period, simply find the ratio of amount to principal, and the power that you get in that ratio will be your number of years. Simple. या तो यहाँ पे परफेक्ट स्क्वायर बनता होगा या तो परफेक्ट क्यूब, क्योंकि 2⁴ आपको याद नहीं है और एग्जामिनर को भी याद नहीं है, किसी को याद नहीं, आपको भी नहीं याद, मुझे भी नहीं याद, एग्जामिनर को भी नहीं याद. तो 4 इयर्स के गैप पे पूछेगा ही नहीं ना, तो या तो 2 इयर्स का गैप होगा, या तो 1 ईयर का, या तो 3 इयर्स का. ये 4 इयर्स का गैप होगा ही नहीं, क्योंकि 4th पावर किसी को याद नहीं है. ठीक है, या फिर इंटरेस्ट हो 50% का इंटरेस्ट हो, क्योंकि 2⁴ 16 होता है, 3⁴ हमें पता है कि 81 होता है. ठीक है, ऐसी पावर्स देगा तब हम निकाल सकते हैं, वरना नहीं निकाल सकते. ठीक है, ऐसे नंबर्स आए तभी हम निकाल सकते हैं. तो तब उस केस में अमाउंट और प्रिंसिपल बहुत छोटे छोटी वैल्यूज होंगी. ठीक है, ये बात ध्यान में रखिएगा. एंड नाउ सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन. द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट एंड सिंपल इंटरेस्ट ऑन 2500 फॉर 2 इयर्स एट 4% पर एनम. क्या लिखा था फॉर्मूला फॉर 2 ईयर डिफरेंस? PR² upon 100². So now you have to calculate the difference. Do that. So it will be, principal is 2500. So rate of interest is 4. So into 4 into 4 by 100 into 100. We have to calculate difference. ये कट गया, ये 4 टाइम्स कट गया, ये 4 कट गया, डिफरेंस कितना आया 4 रुपीज। सिंपल। The difference between compound interest and simple interest on a sum of 3 years, on a sum for 3 years at 5% per annum is 122. The sum is 3 year difference के लिए what formula we wrote? P r square upon 100 square into r by 100 plus 3. So difference is 122. We have to find principal. Rate of interest is 5 into 5 by 100 into 100. 5 by 100 plus 3. So 25, 4, 20. So this will be 122 equals to P by 400. और ये 20 plus 3 60 plus 1 61 by 20. 61, this will cancel out 2 times, so value of P will be 400 into 20 into 2. So 8000 into 2 16,000. Simple. ठीक है, ये क्वेश्चन ज़्यादा आसान है। करिए इसको, करिए। तो यहाँ पे 2 years का डिफरेंस चाहिए, पी आर स्क्वायर अपॉन 100 स्क्वायर. So difference is 40. We have to find principal. Rate of interest is 10. So 10 into 10 upon 100 into 100. This will cancel out. So value of P came out as 4000. All right. Fine. Now let's see this question, sir. Suppose if he finds me to calculate rate of percent in compound interest. आपने देख लिया कि compound interest कैसे निकलेगा, amount कैसे निकलेगा, principal कैसे निकलेगा. इवन आपने टाइम पीरियड निकालना देख लिया. टाइम पीरियड में अमाउंट अपॉन प्रिंसिपल का रेशियो ढूंढना है, और वो रेशियो परफेक्ट स्क्वायर होगा या तो परफेक्ट क्यूब होगा या तो डायरेक्ट होगा. डायरेक्ट है तो 1 ईयर का गैप, परफेक्ट स्क्वायर है तो 2 ईयर्स का गैप, परफेक्ट क्यूब है तो 3 ईयर्स का गैप. अब इसमें आपसे रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट पूछा है. एट व्हाट रेट पर एनम विल 2304 अमाउंट टू 2500 इन 2 ईयर्स. तो इसमें भी क्या करें आप, अमाउंट और प्रिंसिपल का रेशियो निकालें. अमाउंट और प्रिंसिपल का रेशियो निकालें. 2500 बाई 2304. ठीक है. अब 2500 is perfect square of 50 and 2304 is perfect square of 48. लेकिन अगर आपको नहीं पता है, ठीक है, मुझे तो पता है, चलिए नहीं पता है तो इसको कैंसिल आउट करिए. देखिए 4 से कैंसिल आउट होगा 6 टाइम्स, 4 6 24, 625 टाइम्स, and with 4 5 7 and 576 times. Now you know that 625 is a perfect square of 25, right? क्योंकि 30 तक तो याद करने को का ही है, and 526 is a perfect square of 24, right? So now see amount to principal ratio, see in 2 years, तो देखिए पावर जो है वो 2 के बराबर आई, अमाउंट और रेशियो की पावर 2 के ही बराबर आई, ठीक है. तो आप सीधा सीधा इसका स्क्वायर रूट ले सकते थे और कुछ नहीं है. नाउ अब हमने यहाँ पर देखा कि अमाउंट टू प्रिंसिपल रेशियो इज 25/24. So when my principal is 24, I am getting an amount of 25. That means my interest is 1 rupee. My interest is 1 rupee. On 24 principal, if I am getting an amount of 25, that means I am getting 1 rupee interest. So this 1 rupee interest, I am getting 1 rupee interest on what? I am getting 1 rupee interest on 24. I am getting 1 rupee interest on 24. Percentage में कितना हो गया? Into 100. So what you are going to do in case when you have to find rate of interest, find out the ratio of amount to principal. ठीक है, find out the ratio of amount to principal. So now here when we find out ratio of amount to principal, we saw that this is 25/24. ठीक है, 25/24. ठीक है, वो आपको सिंप्लीफाई करके उसका या तो क्यूब रूट देखना होगा किस नंबर का क्यूब है, या तो आपको स्क्वायर देखना होगा, और स्क्वायर और क्यूब याद है तो ये बड़े आराम से हो जाएगा. सो नाउ यू व्हेन यू कैलकुलेटेड अमाउंट टू प्रिंसिपल रेशियो, ठीक है, मैंने इसी दिन के लिए आपको याद करने के लिए कहा था स्क्वायर और क्यूब. अगर आपने नहीं याद करे हैं तो अब आप इंपॉर्टेंट समझ गए, अब करिए याद. फिर आप बोलेंगे कि नहीं सर कैसे निकलेगा, सर कैसे होगा. ठीक है सर, नहीं होगा, अगर आपको पर क्यूब और स्क्वायर नहीं याद है तो नहीं होगा. ठीक है, नाउ you saw that amount to principal ratio is 25/24. That means when your principal was 24 rupees, you got an amount of 25 rupees. That means you are getting 1 rupee interest. Now this 1 rupee interest you are getting on principal, because interest is always calculated on principal. So this 1 rupee interest on principal, that is 24, is how much percent? Multiplied with 100. ठीक है, ये 6 times कटा, ये 25 times कटा, तो 25/6, that is 4 full 1/6%. तो ऐसे आप रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट निकाल देंगे. सिंपल लॉजिक है, कुछ फॉर्मूला नहीं लगाना है. कहीं पे फॉर्मूला लगाया कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट में कुछ नहीं. ठीक है, बस रेशियो अच्छे से आना चाहिए, परसेंटेज अच्छे से आना चाहिए, कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट कुछ नहीं है आपके लिए. Alright, so this is all about compound interest. Now let's go to sir partnership. Let's go to the last concept of this class, that is partnership. Partnership is a very small concept. What would happen when two people are going to enter in a partnership? They are going to share their profit. They are going to share their profit in ratio of their investment. They are going to share their profit in ratio of their investment. ठीक है, they are going to share their profit in the ratio of their investment. For example, and anybody's investment, see A's investment will be capital invested by A, initial capital into time period, initial capital into time period, right? That will be A's investment. That will be A's investment, right? Similarly, if A and B are entering into partnership, sir, B's investment will be B's investment will be initial capital of B into time period. So any person's investment is initial capital into time period. And now right? And now the ratio of their profit will be divided in these ratio. The ratio of investment is going to define their profit sharing ratio. Ratio of their investment is going to define their profit sharing ratio. बस इतने से फॉर्मूले पे ये पूरा टॉपिक बनता है, बस और कुछ नहीं है इसके अंदर। कि किसी भी पर्सन का इन्वेस्टमेंट, ठीक है, कैसे होगा, उसका इनिशियल कैपिटल इनटू टाइम पीरियड, कितने टाइम के लिए वो अमाउंट को लगाता है, और जो प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग होगा वो उनके इन्वेस्टमेंट के रेशियो पे बटेगा। ठीक है, अब जैसे कि एक छोटी सी कहानी सुनिए सर। लेट्स से यू एंड आई एंटर इनटू अ पार्टनरशिप। लेट्स से यू एंड आई स्टार्ट अ बिजनेस इन पार्टनरशिप। यू कम टू मी एंड यू से कि यार एग्जाम सीजन आ रहा है, ठीक है, DSSSB का एग्जाम अनाउंस हो गया है, तो एक काम करते हैं यार, अपन ना दोनों मिलके एक पेन का बिजनेस डालते हैं, क्योंकि एग्जाम सेंटर पे जाएंगे, कई बच्चे होते हैं ना पेन भूल जाते हैं, तो वहां पे हम खड़े होके ना पेन को सेल आउट करेंगे तो हमको प्रॉफिट होगा। अब होलसेल में पेन खरीद लाते हैं, वहां पे हम 1-2 रुपए का मार्जिन रख के उसको बेच देंगे, तो काफी हमारा अच्छा हो जाएगा। कई बार बच्चे पेन भूल जाते हैं, ठीक है, तो मैंने कहा यार आइडिया तो अच्छा है, एग्जाम अनाउंस हो गया है, एग्जाम सेंटर पे भीड़ भी बहुत होगी, ठीक है, तो ऐसा काम हम कर सकते हैं। तो आपने कहा कि ठीक है ये बिजनेस करते हैं। मैंने पूछा कि भाई कितने कैपिटल की रिक्वायरमेंट है, तो आपने कहा यार टोटल 200 रुपए लगेंगे, 100 रुपए मेरे पास है, 200 रुपए के हम होलसेल में बहुत सारे पेन ले आएंगे और एक दिन में हमारे बिक भी जाएंगे। तो मैंने कहा यार 200 रुपए तो नहीं है मेरे पास तो सिर्फ 50 रुपए है। तो आपने कहा कि अच्छा, तो एक काम करते हैं, 100 रुपए मैं देता हूँ, 100 रुपए तो दो, प्रॉफिट आधा आधा बांट लेंगे, क्योंकि दोनों का इन्वेस्टमेंट एक ही है, तो जाहिर सी बात है प्रॉफिट आधा आधा बढ़ जाएगा, क्योंकि दोनों का टाइम पीरियड भी एक ही है, एक ही दिन के लिए तो रखना। लेकिन मैंने कहा कि मेरे पास 100 रुपए तो नहीं है यार, मेरे पास सिर्फ 50 रुपए है। तो आपने कहा कि अच्छा 50 रुपए है, चल ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, मैं 150 रुपए का इंतजाम करता हूँ, मैं 150 डालता हूँ, तू 50 डाल और दोनों भाई चल के बेचते हैं। मैंने कहा ठीक है चलो भाई, ठीक है, तो हम दोनों, मैंने 50 रुपए दिए, आपने 150 रुपए दिए सर, और दोनों चले गए। आप पेन खरीद के ले आए, दोनों पेन खरीद के ले आए और एग्जाम सेंटर पे बेचे। अब उन सब पेनों को बेचने के बाद हम दोनों को 30 रुपए का प्रॉफिट हुआ। पूरे दिन में जितने पेन हमारे बिके, सारे पेन बिक गए, हमें 30 रुपए का प्रॉफिट हुआ। अब 30 रुपए का प्रॉफिट होता है जब, ठीक है, ये चलिए आप 30 रुपए का प्रॉफिट नहीं लेते हैं, यहां पे हम 40 रुपए का प्रॉफिट लेते हैं, आप समझ बड़ी आसानी से जाएंगे। 40 रुपए का प्रॉफिट हुआ। अब 40 रुपए का प्रॉफिट हुआ, तो क्या 40 रुपए में से 20 रुपए आप मुझे आधा प्रॉफिट दे देंगे? नहीं, आप मुझे आधा प्रॉफिट नहीं देंगे। क्यों? क्योंकि आपने 150 रुपए लगाए हैं। अब आप कहेंगे, देखिए जब प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग का बात आएगा तो आप मुझसे कहेंगे कि भाई देख, मैंने 150 रुपए लगाए, तुमने केवल 50 रुपए लगाए, तो अगर ये बिजनेस नहीं चलता, अगर ये बिजनेस नहीं चलता तो आपका नुकसान तो केवल 50 रुपए का होता। आप मुझसे कहेंगे कि भाई तुम्हारा नुकसान तो केवल 50 रुपए का होता, लेकिन मेरा तो 150 रुपए का नुकसान हो जाता ना, तो मेरा रिस्क ज्यादा था तो मेरा प्रॉफिट ज्यादा होगा, जाहिर सी बात है। तो आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट 150 रुपए का, मेरा इन्वेस्टमेंट 50 रुपए का, दोनों का इन्वेस्टमेंट का रेशियो 3:1, तो प्रॉफिट भी अब 3:1, 4 हिस्से में बटेगा। प्रॉफिट के 4 हिस्से होंगे, जिसमें से 3 हिस्से आपको मिलेंगे, एक हिस्सा मुझे मिलेगा, यानी कि आउट ऑफ 40 रुपीज ऑफ प्रॉफिट यू आर गोइंग टू गेट 30 रुपीज एंड आई विल गेट 10 रुपीज, बिकॉज योर इन्वेस्टमेंट वॉज हाई, राइट? सो like when the time period of investment is same, profit will be divided according to their initial capital. Profit will be divided according to their initial capital, right? But when time period is different, their profit will be divided with in the ratio of their investment, and investment is initial capital into time. ठीक है, एक क्वेश्चन देखते हैं। A and B start a business by investing 4,000 and 5,000 respectively. Find A's share out of total profit of 1,800. Now see, in this question, examiner is not defining me the time for which they are making the investment. Examiner is not defining me the time period for which they are making the investment. So by default, I will take the time period to be same. By default, I will take time period to be same. So the profit sharing ratio of A ratio B, since time period of investment is same, profit sharing ratio of A ratio B will be according to their initial investment. So A's initial investment is 4,000, B's initial investment is 5,000. So their profit will be divided in the ratio of 4:5, right? अब ratio में आपने पढ़ा है कि if ratio में आपने पढ़ा है that if A ratio B is 4:5, that means A's share will be 4/4 plus 5, that is 9. A's share will be 4/4 plus 5, that is 9. Right, because A will get out of a total profit of 4 plus 5, 9, because in a ratio sum of all the variables is total. For a ratio sum of all the variables is total. Here two variables are involved, 4 and 5, right? So sum of 4 plus 5 will be my total. So out of a total profit of 9, A will be getting 4. A will be getting 4. So A share will be 4/9 of total profit, which is 1800. ये रेशियो में मैंने आपको बहुत डिटेल में पढ़ाया है. रेशियो अगर नहीं पढ़ा है तो पढ़िए फिर. So this will be 200. So it will be 800. Right? So A share will be 800. Try this. Smith and Cade started a business by investing 84,000 and 28,000 respectively. In what ratio the profit earned after 1 year will be divided between Smith and Cade? See, the time period of investment is constant. So profit sharing ratio will be ratio of their initial capital. So Smith's investment is 84,000, Cade's investment is 28,000. The ratio of their initial capital is 21:7, that is 3:1. 3:1. So Smith's investment is 3 rupees, Cade's investment is 1 rupee, right? So this will be the ratio of their profit sharing, 3:1. Now let's say 3 people are entering into a partnership. So तीनों का जो इन्वेस्टमेंट का रेशियो है वही उनके प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो है. Find this out. So now here total will be sum of all the 3 variables, because ratio will be 3 variable. Ratio will be 3 variable because 3 people are there, na, A, B and C. See, after a year, so time period of their investment is same. So the profit sharing ratio will be decided on ratio of their initial capital. A's capital is 6,300, B's capital is 4,200 and C's capital is 10,500. Cancel this out with 7. This will cancel out 9 times with 7, 6 times with 7, 15 times. So ratio of their investment is 9:6:15. Again can be simplified 3:5. So ratio of their investment is 3:2:5. Right, so ratio of their investment is 3:2:5. So this will be also be their profit sharing ratio. So A's share will be 3/3 plus 2 plus 5. Total कितने हिस्से होंगे? 3 plus 2 plus 5. Total of this ratio will be sum of all the variables. 3 plus 2 plus 5, that is 10. So A's share will be 3/10 of total profit, that is 12,100. Cancel this out. So it will be 3630. All right. Now try this. In a business, P and R invest amount in the ratio 2:1, where ratio between amounts invested by P and Q was 3:2. If 2236 was their profit, how much did Q receive? Now see, in these questions I have taken these sort of questions in ratio, where I said that when two different ratios are given, you can find out the cumulative ratio by finding out the common term. Now see, first ratio is P and R, second ratio is P and Q. So P and R and P and Q में common क्या है? P. So I can, if P ratio R is 2:1, then R ratio P will be 1:2, correct? And now P ratio Q is 3:2. P ratio Q is 3:2. अब मैंने आपको कम्युलेटिव कैसे निकालना बताया था. मैंने कहा था यहां पर 2 के बगल में नंबर लिखना है, 2 कॉपी करिए. यहां पर 3 के बगल में नंबर लिखना है, 3 कॉपी करिए, and then multiply from top to bottom. So 1 into 3, 3, 2 3s are 6, 2 2s are 4. So their cumulative ratio is 3:6:4. Right, so we have to find out Q share. Sir, Q share is 4 out of total of 3 plus 6, 9 plus 4, 13. So Q share will be 4/13 of 2236. 1, 9, 93, 7, 91, 26, 172. So value of this will be 4 into 172, 8, 8 to carry 688. Right. Now see, now let's go to a question where time period of investment is different. See, A and B start a business in which A invests 10,000 for 1 year, B invests 20,000 for 2 years. At the end of the profit received by them is 5,000. So देखिए, B का इन्वेस्टमेंट 2 इयर्स का है, तो ये 5,000 प्रॉफिट भी एट द एंड ही मिलेगा, 2 इयर्स के बाद मिलेगा. आप ये मत सोचिए कि 5,000 एवरी ईयर मिल रहा है, नहीं. Profit is always calculated at the last when you dissolve your partnership, then you calculate profit. ठीक है? So now here A's investment is different for different time period, B's investment is different for different time period. So now the ratio of their profit sharing will be based on their investment. A का इनिशियल कैपिटल अलग है, टाइम पीरियड अलग है, B का इनिशियल कैपिटल अलग है, टाइम पीरियड अलग है. सो देयर प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो विल नाउ बी डिसाइडेड बाय देयर इन्वेस्टमेंट, एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट इज इनिशियल कैपिटल इनटू टाइम पीरियड. B's initial capital into time period. So this will be 10,000 ratio 40,000. So ratio of investment is 1:4. So A's investment is 1, B's investment is 4. Now divide this 5,000 profit, we have to find A's share. So A's share will be 1 by 1 plus 4, 5, 1/5 of 5,000. A's share out of a total profit of 1 plus 4, 5, A's share will be 1. So A's share will be 1/5. So A's profit will be 1000. ठीक है, सिंपल है. अगर 3 जने हो तो वैसे ही निकलेगा, तीनों का इन्वेस्टमेंट निकाल लीजिए. A, B and C started a business in which A's investment is 10,000 for 1 year. So A's investment is 10,000, A's capital is 10,000 for a time period of 1 year. B invested 20,000 for a time period of 2 years and C invested 30,000 for a time period of 3 years. So A's investment will be 10,000 into 1, 10,000, B's investment will be 20,000 into 2, 40,000. And C's investment will be 30,000 into 3, 90,000. So now their profit sharing ratio will be based on their investment ratio, which is 1:4:9. So now at the end of the profit received by them is 5,600, C's share. So total profit will be 1 plus 4 plus 9, right? 1 plus 4 plus 9, that is 14 rupees. If total profit would have been 14 rupees, C would have get 9 rupees. So C share would be 9 by 14 of 5,600. With 14, this will cancel out 400 times. 9 into 4, 3,600. All right. Try this one. A and B established a firm together. A's investment was thrice that of B. A also kept the investment for twice as much time as B. If B got a profit of 4,000, what was the total profit? Calculate. See, A and B established a firm. A's investment was thrice that of B's investment. So let's say if B invested 1 rupee, A invested 3 rupees. A's investment is thrice of B. A also kept the investment twice as much time as B. A also kept the investment for twice as much time as B. So let's say if B kept it for 1 year, A kept it for 2 years. Right? So now investment of A and B would be in the ratio 3 2s are 6, ratio 1 into 1, 1. So A and B's investment ratio is 6:1. If B got a profit of 4,000, what will be profit? What will be total profit? So total profit will be A share plus B share. So 6 plus 1, 7. Total profit will be 6 plus 1, 7. Now B's profit is 1. So 1 represents a value of 4,000. B ka share 1 है ना. If C will get 6 rupees, B will get 1 rupee. right? So when B share is 1, B share is 4,000. So when total profit will be 7, 7 will be 4,000 into 7. ये तो आपको आता है रेशियो में कैसे कैलकुलेट होता है, ये आपने पढ़ा भी है रेशियो में, right? B share is 1, so 1 represents a value of 4,000. So total profit will be 6 plus 1 7. So 7 will represent what? आप चाहें तो x लिख के भी कर सकते हैं. 7 will represent what? If 1 represents 4,000, total profit will be 6 plus 1 7. 7 will represent what? X. Find the value of x. 4,000 into 7, that is 28,000. That will be your answer. Simple. ये देखिए, Shyam and Ram invested in a business and gained a profit which was divided in the ratio 2:3. If Shyam invested 40,000, then the amount invested by Ram. Shyam and Ram invested in a business and gained a profit which was divided in the ratio 2:3. If Shyam invested 40,000, then what was the amount invested by Ram? ढूंढिए सर. देखिए, यहाँ पे Shyam and Ram invested in a business and gained a profit which was divided in the ratio 2:3. If Shyam invested 40,000, right, then we have to find out investment of Ram. Right, we have to find out investment of Ram. See, time period of both their investment is same. We know that when time period of investment is same, profit ratio will be divided in the ratio of their initial capital, right? Will be divided into their initial capital. So profit sharing ratio is 2:3. So now I will say that if 40,000 represents a value, if 2 represents a value of 40,000, so 3 will represent what? X. Right, so I will say if 2 represents, because profit of Shyam is 2, so if 2 represents initial capital of 40,000, because time period of investment is same, तो प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो किस पे होगा? उनके इनिशियल कैपिटल के रेशियो पे. सो जो इनिशियल कैपिटल का जो रेशियो आएगा वो 2:3 आएगा. दैट मींस इफ 2 रिप्रेजेंट्स अ इनिशियल कैपिटल ऑफ 40,000, 3 विल रिप्रेजेंट अ इनिशियल कैपिटल ऑफ व्हाट? x. बस इसको सॉल्व करना है आपको. तो 20,000 चला गया, तो वैल्यू ऑफ x विल बी 3 into 20,000, that is 60,000. राइट, बिकॉज टाइम पीरियड सेम है ना. अगर टाइम पीरियड अलग अलग भी होता तो आप यहां पे रख देते, तो 2 का वैल्यू 40,000 इंटू टाइम पीरियड होता, तो यहाँ पे 3 का वैल्यू x इंटू टाइम पीरियड होता. ठीक है, तब भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Now see this, A, B and C invest 2,000, 3,000 and 4,000 in a business. After 1 year, A removed his money, B and C continued the business for 1 more year. If the net profit after 2 years will be 3,200, then A's share in the profit. So now A, B and C are investing in a business. A invested 2,000 rupees initially, B invested 3,000 and C invested 4,000. Now A, after 1 year, A removed his money. After 1 year, A is removing his money. So A's investment will be 2,000 into 1, that is 2,000. And B and C kept the investment for 1 more year. So B and C initially started with A, then they kept the investment for 1 more year. That means for B and C, total time period of investment will be 2 years. Time period of investment will be 2 years. So B invested for 2 years, C invested for 2 years. So B's investment will be 3,000 into 2, 6,000, and C's investment will be 4,000 into 2, 8,000. So now this investment ratio will be their profit sharing ratio, With 2000, this will cancel out 3 times, this will cancel out 4 times, and 2000 will cancel out 1 time. So their ratio of investment is 1:3:4. We have to find A share. So out of a total profit of 1 plus 3 plus 4, that is 8, A share will be 1. So A share will be 1/8 of total profit, that is 3200. So this will cancel out 400. ठीक है, तो अगर कोई कंटिन्यू करता है तो उसका टाइम पीरियड बढ़ जाएगा, बस इतना करना है. ठीक है, अब ये देखिए, अगर विड्रॉ कर लेता है, A and B start a business with 8,000 each, and after 4 months B withdraws half of his capital. How should they share the profit at the end of 18 months? देखिए, तो आप क्या करेंगे, A और B started a business, their initial capital was 8,000, B's initial capital was also 8,000. For first 4 months, both kept their money, right? For first 4 months, both kept their money. Then after 4 months, B withdraws half of his capital. B withdraws half of its capital. So if A kept its money for first 4 months, right now A's capital will be 8,000 into 4 and B's capital will be 8,000 into 4. Now after 4 months, B withdraws half of its capital. So out of 8,000, now B is withdrawing 4,000. So B's remaining amount will also be 4,000. B is withdrawing half of its capital. So out of 8,000, if B withdraws 4,000, B's remaining amount will still be 4,000. And now B is keeping this 4,000 rupees for 14 months because their total investment was for 18 months, for next 14 months. And B and A is still keeping it, right? A is still keeping 8,000 for next 14 months. A ने कोई change नहीं किया. So total capital of A will be these two values. Total capital of B will be these two values. So 8,000 into 4 या फिर 8,000 into 18 कर दीजिए simple. So it will be 8,000 into 18 ratio. I'll not solve this right now. I'll keep this. This will be 32,000 and 56. 32 and 56 because this will cancel out, right? इसलिए मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ अभी. Something is going to cancel out. So I'll solve this. This will be 32,000. And this will be 56,000. So add both these values, it will be 88,000. Now I know that with 8, this will cancel out 11 times and 1,000 will cancel out. So now ratio of investment is 18:11. So A's profit will be 18, B's profit will be 11 out of a total profit of 18 plus 11, 29. So now how should they share the profit? 18:11. यही निकालना था. ठीक है. See, again, let me tell you, A's investment was 8,000 for first 4 months. B's investment was also 8,000 for first 4 months. Now, after 4 months, B is withdrawing half of its investment, but A is still keeping the same investment. Only B is withdrawing half of its investment. So, out of 8,000, if B takes out half, that means now only 4,000 remains, and now he is keeping 4,000 investment for next 14 months, while B is keeping the same 8,000 investment for next 14 months. So A's total, A is keeping the same 8,000 investment for next 14 months. So A's total investment will be 8,000 into 4 plus 8,000 into 14, and B's total investment will be 8,000 into 4 plus 4,000 into 14, right? So now their profit sharing will be based on their investment ratio. ठीक है, try this one. A and B invest 8,000 and 9,000 in a business. After 4 months, A withdraws half of its capital, and 2 months later, B withdraws 1/3 of its capital. ठीक है, तो A के हाफ कैपिटल 8,000 का हाफ आपको लेना होगा, B के 9,000 का 1/3 आपको लेना होगा, and then you will calculate. And you have to calculate their profit sharing ratio after 1 year. See, A and B invest 8,000 and 9,000 in a business. So initially A started the business with 8,000, B started the business with 9,000. After 4 months, A withdraws half of its capital. So for the first 4 months, A is keeping 8,000, right? And so after 4 months, he is withdrawing half of its capital. So now he is keeping only 4,000 and 4,000 for the remaining 8 months because their total investment is for 1 year. While B, after 2 months, B withdraws 1/3 of its capital. So for first 2 months, B is keeping his entire capital, that is 9,000, and now B is withdrawing 1/3, that means 3,000. So remaining B's capital will be 6,000, and now he is keeping it for the next 10 months because total time period of investment is 12 months. So B's total investment would be this. So 8,000 into 4, 32,000, and then this will be 32,000. So 32,000 plus 32,000, A's investment is 64,000, and this will be 18 and 60. So B's investment is 78,000. Okay. So this will cancel out. So ratio of their sharing will be, किससे कटेगा? 4 से कटेगा? नहीं, 2 से ही कटेगा. 32 ratio 39. 32 ratio 39. 32 ratio 45. कुछ गलत लिखा है मैंने. Is investing 8,000. After 4 months, A withdraws half of its capital. ठीक है. So 8 months and 2 months later, sorry sir, 2 months later, 2 months later, that means B is keeping this 9,000 for 6, right? 2 months later, and 2 months later, it is not written that after 2 months B withdraws 1/3 of its capital after 2 months, right? अगर ऐसे लिखा होता and B withdraws its capital 1/3 capital after 2 months, तो फिर यहाँ पे 9,002, फिर ये इक्वेशन सही होती. But he is withdrawing his 1/3 capital 2 months later, 2 months later to this initial 4,000. That means he is keeping his 9,000 capital for first 6 months, right? So now A's के investment में तो कोई चेंज नहीं आया, 64,000. B's investment will be 54 and then 36. 54 and 36, 90. So this will be 90,000. So now it is okay with 32 and with 45. So 32 ratio 45. Because it is 2 months later. 2 months later मतलब B ने 9,000 तो पहले 4 months रखा, ठीक है, फिर 4 months के 2 months बाद तक और रखा 9,000 और फिर उसने विड्रॉ किया. 2 months later means now my time period will be 4 plus 2, 6 months. For B, my time period will be 4 plus 2, 6 months. So after 6 months, he is withdrawing 1/3 of its capital. After 6 months, he is withdrawing 1/3 of its capital. All right. So take one more question on this partnership, and then we will conclude because partnership में इससे ज़्यादा और कुछ नहीं है. Pramod started a business with 40,000. After 4 months, Vikas also joined him with 60,000. At the end of the year, the profit is 16,000. What is share of Vikas in the profit? पता करिए. Pramod started a business with 40,000. After 4 months, Vikas also joined him with 60,000. So Pramod's investment is 40,000 for first 4 months. For 12 months because Pramod is investing for entire 12 months, right? While Vikas is joining him after 4 months. So Vikas is coming with an investment of 60,000, but he is keeping the investment only for 8 months because at the end of the year they are dividing their profit. So Vikas to 4 months के बाद आया ना, so Vikas would have kept his money only for 8 months. Vikas would have kept his money only for 8 months, right? So Pramod's investment will be this. आप चाहें तो यहीं पे cancel out कर सकते हैं इन values को, right? Then if you can find out common, 4 2s are 8, 4 3s are, then 2 3s are, 2 2s are, so it will be 2 in 3 and 3, 2 and 2. So their investment ratio is almost equal. 2 3s are 6, 3 2s are 6. So ratio is 1:1. That means they will share their profit in 2 equal halves. So 16,000 profit will be divided half and half. So 8,000, 8,000. So share of Vikas will be 8,000. Fine. All right. So with this question, sir, we complete your topic partnership also and this class also. Right. Now in today's class, sir, we discussed the topic interest, where interest was a two-parter concept. The first part was simple interest. The second was compound interest. In compound interest, you saw that we were not using the formula. We just simply used the logic of percentage. The fractional concept of percentage that we learnt, using that we solved those questions. Now, what I expect that you will go through the questions once again through your recording, because when I took these questions, I made sure that I discuss with you all types of questions, right? I bring variety of questions for you. So for these questions, what I expect that please go through the questions again through your recording, try them on your own, right? Suppose if you struggle with a question, see the solution, stop the recording and then try it for one more time, right? Try the question till you can solve it on your own. And then you saw the concept of partnership. Partnership is not a very difficult or lengthy concept. Always remember that profit sharing ratio will be based on their investment ratio, and investment ratio is initial capital into time period. All right. So with this, sir, take some practice questions on your own as well. Try some previous year questions to verify whether you are able to solve these sort of questions or not. So as if for now, we will keep it till here. Right, sir, when we meet in next class, we will talk about a new topic, some of its new key concepts and new questions. Till then, sir, thank you so much for watching this session. Keep learning, keep smiling.